Oh, you ever thought this will only take 5 minutes and then realize that you were comically wrong? Yeah, well, welcome to Parkinson's time. You see, my body and my brain have, well, let's just call it a miscommunication issue. My hands, they're on their own schedule. My fingers are boycotting. My legs, they're just here for emotional support. Suddenly, what should take 30 seconds has now become a full-body strategy session. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter how long it takes. Forward is forward, and we're still moving. So let's keep going. You've got this.
Okay, so most people, they just tap on their phones and move on. Me, I try to open up one app and my phone opens up like 5. Trying to text, autocorrect turns, hey, how are you, into help, how are you? Swiping, hope you like random screenshots and accidental likes from 2013. And at this point, if I ever text you something really weird, just know that it was a team effort between me and my phone.
Falling asleep with Parkinson's, it's already a challenge. But then try to roll over, and suddenly you're in the middle of a full-scale military operation. You have to analyze the situation, trying to come up with the best strategy, then carefully shift your weight, slowly initiating the move, because too fast, the whole mission's compromised, and too slow, and you're never gonna make it. And when I finally make it to the other side, mission accomplished, job is done, the operation was a complete success. And then my bladder says, hey, since you're awake, let's go to the bathroom.
In a world where the ground feels shaky and memory is optional, 2 men will rise, armed with microphones, dry humor, and a suspicious number of pill bottles. They'll face tremors, stiffness, and the ultimate challenge, recording a podcast without forgetting what they were talking about. This is where Parkinson's gets real. This is Life in Motion, the Parkinson's podcast. Rated P for please take your meds first. Now, grab your earbuds, unless you forgot where you put them. Then just turn the volume up because today's episode is ready to go. Now, here are Bryce and Brian.
Well, good morning. Welcome back to Life in Motion, the Parkinson podcast. I am Bryce.
And I am Brian. And if you're new here, this is the show where 2 guys with Parkinson's talk about the good, the bad, and the reality. And usually we end up laughing at ourselves along the way.
Don't we ever? Oh my God. Probably too much sometimes, Brian. Well, today's topic is one that every single person with Parkinson's has probably felt at some point, if not now, later. But we're going to talk about isolation.
Yeah, isolation, that sneaky monster that makes you feel safer, when in reality, it just steals more and more from you the longer you let it hang around.
My gosh, it's unbelievable. We're going to unpack it. We're going to tell some stories, some struggles, and, hopefully provide some solutions. And of course, we're going to play our favorite game, Shakey or Fakey. We've had some pretty raunchy, some pretty wild contests lately, Brian. Some really wild contests lately with Dawn and Ed. But today it's you and me, man. And guess what? Brian's research update in his expertly general news is back. It was funny, Brian. I don't know if you saw this in the comments after last episode. Someone said, so someone said, "What is an expert general or general? What do we call you?
Expert journalist.
Expert generalist. What is that?" And I said, "Great question." I said, "I have no idea." So, Brian, if you could just maybe because we have so many new viewers, new listeners. Yeah, what is an expert generalist?
So it was a term created by myself. It is self-acclaimed.
I like it.
What it was a banner for me to strive for as I was being a student and a teacher at the same time in my volunteer work. I couldn't mentor newly diagnosed individuals if I didn't have a knowledge base to draw from. So what it means is Brian is an expert in a lot of smaller things around Parkinson's. I'm not an expert in any one, like I'm not a brain surgeon, right? I'm the, how would I say it? If you had a contractor come in and do some work on your home, I'm not the electrician, I'm not the plumber, I'm not the drywaller, I'm not specialized, but I'm specialized in Parkinson's.
Well, yeah, and that's amazing. It really is. And so, and you know what? And thank you wherever you're tuning in today. How about in the chat? It's live chat here today. We love to interact. So, if you have any questions about isolation, put them in there. But why don't just say hi, say hey, and where you're tuning in from. We love to interact with you, and hopefully we can get at this and play it a bit. But we're going to hopefully, Brian. You know what? I'm being very what's the right word? Being very optimistic.
Okay.
Right, because I was gonna just about say, hey, we're gonna give you 12 steps on how to unpack this, but we'll see how many we get to. But we're gonna give you some
Sure.
tips as well for isolation. So if you are dealing with isolation or feeling it, or maybe struggling with it a little bit, we'll give you some of our tips, some things that have worked along the way. I mean, we're
Mhm.
again, as Brian said, expert generalists, but I mean, I've been living with this thing. You know what, Brian? I passed my birthday. I
You
passed my
did.
yeah, I passed my birthday. So
So
I've
you are
always
officially 15 years.
yeah, I've always I passed it. I've always been saying almost 15 years almost. Now I can say I've been dealing with this for over 15 years. So
Exactly. Well,
that's pretty
congrats on the birthday. Those are good milestones to have.
well, you know what? Again, like I said, they when I got diagnosed, he said 5 years, and then at the 5 year mark, he said, "Well, let's go 5 more," and I got to 10, and now I'm at the 15. So, I think I'm gonna stretch it out. I'm not even gonna go for 5 anymore. I'll go for 10 or 15, and just double it. Why not? Right?
Absolutely.
What do you think about that, Mr. Expert Generalist? Hey, you do
I,
that? All right.
I think that's the way to do it.
Well, why not? I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. I was at a thing, and we both, we had some a crazy week the week that just passed, right?
Sure did.
And oh, look at this. Here's Barbara. Barbara feeling isolated in Colorado. Barbara, you're not isolated. We're here with you, right? You're here in the thing, in the chat. So welcome, Barbara. And Eileen, good afternoon from PA. The leaves are beautiful in PA. Everything is changing colors. I can't believe that it's almost
Same here.
October. But we had some interesting things. Both of us we're talking with Diff. We were just chatting before we came on, and we were both talking. We ended up both talking to neurologists and some pretty wild people this
Yeah.
weekend. And they were all of them, were very impressed with what we've got going on here. And it was really interesting. And don't quote my math on this, but one of the neurologists said from the stage, I was at this event, and they said, you know what? We see our patients, like us, I guess, for an hour a year, if we're lucky, two times a year for 30 minutes.
Wow.
And they meaning us are dealing with this 8,752 hours a year.
By themselves.
And he said, who's the real expert here? And they said, and it was funny because I think that's the one thing we always wondered. It's like, I wonder what, if my doctor was watching, or if
Yeah.
and what they would say. And to that end, I bumped into my movement neurologist, my movement disorder specialist was at this conference, or this talk, I guess is what it was. And so was his Parkinson's nurse, and she was giving me heck for not giving her the link so she could hand them out to people. So I think that's kind of a nice little a little stamp of approval. So
Agreed.
shout out to them, and thank you for your support and what you're doing and everything. So not my home was Hurricane Alley, South Carolina. So Brian,
Yeah.
let's get real. This is a big subject, and we have some people that are obviously, we just heard already, feeling isolated. But I'm going to be real with you. Isolation has probably been the hardest hidden battle for me, right? When I was diagnosed at 40, I didn't tell anybody outside my immediate family for 5 years, like not coworkers, not friends. I thought keeping it private would protect me, but instead it kind of boxed me in. You know what I mean? And I'd make excuses to not go out, and I would dodge, invitations, and I tell myself it's just easier that way, right? It was just easier to stay away. I don't
Yeah.
have to worry. I don't have to worry about what's going to happen. I don't have to worry about, if I'm going to freeze, or if I'm going to tremor, or if I'm going to have my symptoms are going to come out. But the reality was, it wasn't any easier. It was actually really lonely, right? And looking back,
Yeah.
I realized I wasn't protecting myself. I was like cutting myself out of life.
Yeah, I get that. Absolutely. I've done the same thing. I did go out and tell people what I was doing. So that would be the difference between the two of us. But this isolation thing, it impacted me as well. One Christmas, I told my family I had a really bad headache, so I didn't have to deal with the questions. And I sat at home with a plate of cookies watching TV, and that was my whole Christmas dinner, just cookies and regret.
Yeah, you know what? Isolation throws the worst parties, right? No cake, no balloons. just
Exactly.
you and your symptoms, and it's like what do they always say? Like I'm having a pity party, and you're not invited, right? It's just going to be me and my pity party, and
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Yeah. You don't even get any stale snacks.
Yeah, exactly. you know, that's
Throw me a bone, right? Like,
there it is. You know what? Yeah, when we're kids, I used play Santa and Ethan, but you're right. It's like we're missing the fun, and we're missing things that are going on in our lives. And
yeah.
in the comments, if that's you, if you've made up excuses like Brian just said, just to I've got a headache, or just to avoid it.
Yeah.
You know what? Just put a put a me too in the comments. Just put a me too in the side there, just so you can see that we're not alone, and everybody else will kind of stick up to that. And it's not about, Brian, it's not about just missing parties, right? Like I
Right.
once skipped a dinner with old friends, like people that I
Oh,
love
wow.
being with, like people that I would love hanging with, right? My people, because I knew they'd ask, how I was doing, how's it going? How are you feeling? And I just couldn't handle those questions. So I stayed home, but the whole time I thought, like, I'm missing the laughter, I'm missing connection,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
I'm missing life. And Parkinson's was the only guest at that table.
Yeah. And I try to have that conversation with myself when I get pigeonholed like that. Because isolation can turn into your own worst company, not enemy, but company. I had an experience last night. We had a fire going out, a campfire going last night. Our neighbors came over, and I was 20 minutes into that campfire, and I excused myself, and I went home for the night. And I was there for a good couple of hours by myself. The grandkids were in bed, and Lori, and my wife, and my daughter and son-in-law stayed at the campfire. But I had to escape. I had a busy couple of days, Thursday, Friday, leading into Saturday. I was downtown at the movement disorder clinic and whatnot. So, yeah, I have like that example is not even 24 hours old.
Oh man, and that's and listen, that's two guys. That's 15 years in and 10, 12 years in. I mean, and we're still dealing with it. And
Yeah,
I think, at least we can recognize it a little bit and kind of call ourselves out on it. But the truth is, it's like, I mean, there's times, and I did the other podcast I was talking about that, and Carmen, I do this. Carmen does a Carmen's care partner corner, right? And
nice.
and I get her. So I'm like, what I do is I say, hey, I'm talking about this today, and I want your 2 cents on it. And she writes some stuff down, and then
Cool.
I speak it out. She doesn't want to come on camera. She's like, you just read it for me, right? And she says, and so I read it out, and it's funny when I'm reading it out loud, because she just writes it down and I just read it. Okay. I try not to look at it first, because I want it to be kind of a natural reaction to it. So,
Nice.
but I was reading it out loud, and it was like, she's like, I have to push. I make sure I push, or something. I make sure I push when we have an invite that to force us to go, right? Because she says, like, and to her point, she says, I'm a homebody to begin with as well. So it's easy for me to say, no, hey, let's stay home and hang out. But she's like, I push for it. But there was one really cool thing that made me stop and think about it, was she said that, I know if he's having a bad day, like I know if he's not feeling good,
Yeah.
right? Then then I'll back off. But she says there's a big difference between not feeling good and just trying to avoid it. And she says you can tell the difference. And I thought about that. I was thinking about that, and that's true, right? I mean, there's days where it's like, if you're having an off day and a bad day and you just can't go, my advice is stay home. Don't push yourself, and just recharge your batteries. So I guess it's distinguishing between I can't go, right? And I don't want to go. Like, I'm going to avoid it. And I think that's the big thing that we have to figure out.
Agreed.
And it's funny. It's just crazy. Like, so here's Margaret. Margaret says sometimes being alone is necessary as part of self-care, especially when you're just spent a couple of, and that's exact. So to Margaret, you're right on. That's exactly what I mean. There are days just to chill, right? Hang out, like recuperate, recharge your batteries, just spend some time with yourself. And that's exactly right. That's where you have to distinguish, right? Is this something I'm just avoiding, or is it something I'm just, I'm not up to today? And that's okay. It's okay either way. The problem is if we're doing the avoidance, right, when we know we should go out there, we know there's no reason not to. I've been alone for a week and a half, right? I've had my to Margaret's point, I've meditated on this. It's just been me and all me, and it's time for me to talk to somebody else. And I think that's why that connection points are so important. And to that end, Brian, I don't know what you think about this, but I think sometimes that I'm a big how do I say this right? I'm kind of a big guy. Like it's like, in other words, it's like if it's not going to have a big impact, I don't want to do it. Like if it, I want everything. I want to have this like big thing, and I think sometimes I overthink it. Right? It's like even a small. Even sending a text to a friend or saying, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah.
or getting on the phone with them. That's connection. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just something, one of those things. Like I think, like again, like we're talking about isolation today, and you may be sitting here listening or watching, going like, but I just, I can't go out. It's raining outside. Well, connection isn't just about going out all the time, right? It's about even just picking up the phone and calling a friend, or calling your kids, or having someone over for tea, or just talking to the neighbor, or even literally just going out and just walking around the park and saying hi to people. Like I think sometimes we overthink it, right? When we think isolation, like it's like, okay, I got to join a sport group, and that's connection, and that's the best part, is to be connected to a group of people like you. But sometimes it's just about a little thing. Sometimes go to the grocery store and say hi to the cashier.
No, for sure. Or if you still got a mailman or something of that nature, right? You can certainly just it takes a moment out of your day, so you're not asking yourself for much, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so Nancy in the comments, she said, me too. That hurts the most is the lack of understanding from friends who've known me for years, and to that end, it's like when you're going to connect, then those aren't that's not who you're going to be connecting with, like the friends that don't get it, right? I mean, when I'm talking about connection and isolation, I mean, yes, you got to go out and do those things, but you have to be connected to a tribe, like your people around you, people that are like you, people that understand you. And you don't have to. You know what I love about it, Brian? Like even in the inner circle, you don't have to explain yourself.
Right.
You don't have to, you don't have to, because everybody gets it, right? You don't have to say, well, this happened and that happened, and try to explain why it happened. It's just like, because they know people get it. And that's the type of people you have to be around. You know what I mean?
100%.
I think so. Are you hearing a buzzing? Or is that just me? I was like, my phone's buzzing or something.
No, I don't hear anything.
I don't know. It's just me, man. Maybe I'm just out of my rockers. Hey, so I want to get into a little bit more of this, but I'm so excited this morning because it's just me and you and our people online, and I think we should get into some Shakey or Fakey.
Get ready for the only game show where the stakes are low, but the side eyes are high. It's time for Shakey or Fakey, the game where one fact is true, one is totally made up, and Bryce and Brian pretend they studied. Will they nail the neuroscience or flunk the funk? Play along in the comments and see if you can beat the bros. Let the Shakey showdown begin.
Man, I'm such a trigger finger on that thing, Brian. Every time I'm like, I'm just going to do it, and then I feel so bad. It's like you go to say something, I'm like, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm just throwing this in. So I apologize for that, my friend.
All good. I'm ready to go. All I was going to say was that I'm looking forward to this because I need to regroup, recover.
Redeem.
I got beat for the first time. Like,
whoa, it was a tough one, and
it was. He did a good job.
But I felt bad for Don, because it was like Don. We had Don. If you didn't see last week's episode, go back and check it out. Even watch the Shaky Fakey people, or the Shaky Fakey part of the program, because it was wild. And I was like, I made them so hard for you, Brian. And then I was like, oh no, here's Don's come on for the first time, and I'm just hammering down on this, and I love it. I love it. What's this, Eileen? I've been forwarding some of your short videos to family and friends to help them understand. I love that. Nice. Thank you. That's great, Eileen. I gotta, I've again, no excuses, but my goodness, I got to get back and make some more of those. I have them stacked up, ready to go, because they're little tips and tricks. But let's do this, Brian. Let's do Shaky Fakey. You need some redemption, man. I was feeling pretty bad last week. So again, in the comments, we're going to play along. Just put a 1, whatever question is, question 1, put Shaky or Fakey, and you're going to try to beat Brian. And Brian's on a warpath today, so he's going to be tough to beat. But again, so Shaky is true, Fakey is false. And here we go. You ready for this? Here's question number 1. Everybody get ready. Here we go. All right. This is something that it's either taken out of the comments from YouTube, or Bryce made it up. Ready? I often pretend to have the flu to avoid going out, but then I actually pretended to have the flu on my own birthday because I didn't want people noticing how slow I'd become with this silly Parkinson's. Is that answer Shaky? Is that a true comment from a viewer, Shaky, or did Bryce make that up? Fakey? So Brian,
my gut says Shaky.
You're going shaky right off the crack on that one, just right after. Okay, all right.
It resonated for me. And you
It
told me to listen to my gut.
You got to listen to your gut, and you got to listen to resonates. And here some people start coming here, and they're going shaky. We got a lot of shakies coming up here, and shaky. So yeah, Brian, I felt so awful last week, so I thought we'd start off with a gimme. Oh, Deborah, and that was definitely shaky. That was so true. And isolation can even steal your own birthday. Can you imagine? Like that's again, and that's where I thought that I the reason I actually even put that there, it really summed it up. Like that's how badly it could get, even for your own birthday. So that was shaky. Right. You're 1 for 1. Most people in there are 1 for 1. But
feeling good. Feeling good.
Yeah. Great idea, Alina. Okay, so here we go. And you know what? And just really to sum it up, look at this. Look at that. Great idea, Eileen. And that's the thing. You know what, Brian? We don't have to do it ourselves, right? You know what? I always tell people, if you don't know how to say something, find something on one of the podcasts and just send them the podcast. Say, watch this, darn it. Watch this. This is how I'm feeling. So, okay. Here's question number 2. Brian's 1 for 1. I think a lot of people are 1 for 1. But question number 2. This is a straight out shaky fakey. People with Parkinson's who feel socially isolated have double the risk of faster motor decline compared to those with strong social networks. So, shaky or fakey, people with Parkinson's who feel socially isolated have double the risk of faster motor decline compared to those with strong social networks.
Okay, and I'm going to go shaky.
You're going shaky on that one too, man. And you know what? You're not even explaining yourself. You're not even. I don't see your pencil.
The way I'm holding it.
Oh, there it is. I knew that pencil.
I said shaky because I truly believe that if you, it makes sense to me that if you're playing the isolation game, I think that negatively can impact your health.
Wait, and you know what, Brian? And everybody's shaking. It looks like everybody is shaking, saying shaky in the comments. And my God, that's shaky. That's so true. And but listen to that. Like we just said, isolation isn't just emotional. It speeds up progression. In other words, when you're at the doctor and they say, start taking do this levodopa thing, start exercising right away to slow the progression. And can you imagine? Just listen to that again. People with Parkinson's who feel socially isolated, double the risk, double time. Jeez. Like that's freaking scary.
That's like taking money out of your wallet.
Oh my Lord. I mean, we're working so hard to push this progression back. And you know what? Right. Just by feeling like we're all alone doubles it. And that I'm almost going to pull a Brian here. I'm almost going to start to bawl my head off because I'm thinking about all the comments we get in all the different podcasts we're doing. And all of them say, I thank God I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And then you think about that for 1 second. Is it possible that what we're doing here and, in the inner circle and different things like that we can actually are helping people stop a progression of the disease? Anyway.
Well, if you think about it, dopamine responds to positivity, right?
Yeah. Oh,
I'm right in saying that, right?
It makes me so sad it just makes me sad that we do this. So if you are, if you don't have this connection you're feeling it, I'm telling you, please come join it. Go to I know, this isn't a sales pitch. I always keep talking about the inner circle because it warms my heart. I watch people in there. It's so beautiful. So if you don't have that connection, please, it's a virtual, just come join us. Please let us help you stop the progression or slow it down.
Hey, Bryce, just one more quick comment on this one. And when we were starting this podcast that you and I are doing now, I was so excited about it that I was always bouncing around the place. I was Mr. Positive. And I remember my therapist saying to me, Brian, do you think that your attitude right now, because you're over the moon about so much stuff, that your positivity is acting as a deflection to the disease being able to move forward? And I said, I never thought of it before, but I said, absolutely. Positive outweighs negative.
There's no question. There's no question about it. Right. And I think every morning we have a choice to make when we get out of bed.
Exactly.
We can choose to
100%.
to woe is me and life's awful, and not saying that there aren't days that it is awful. It is awful. We're not pretending we don't have it. We're not pretending it doesn't suck and hurt some days. But you know what? We can either choose to, or we choose to embrace it and live our best life we can with it. So, and it just, anyway, if you're feeling isolation, I'm telling you, please reach out to us and push in. Okay. All right. Let's
go. We're in a wrap.
All right. 2 for 2, Brian. 2 for 2. And here we go. This is question number 3.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready? All right. I only grocery shop at 3 o'clock in the morning at a 24-hour mart to avoid people staring at my dyskinesia or my tremor, depending if I'm off or on. So did someone say this, or did Bryce make it up, that I only grocery shop now at 3 o'clock in the morning to avoid people staring at either my dyskinesia or my tremor, depending on whether I'm off or on? And is that a shaky or a fake? This is question number 3. So in the comments, question number 3, shaky or fakey? What do you think it is? Did Bryce make it up, or did someone actually say that?
I could actually see this for sure. I think this is shaky, and if it's not, congratulations. That'll be the best one you ever wrote. I think that is phenomenal, and yeah, that's a great way to avoid life, right? And write yourself a ticket or a pass to go shop in the middle of the night. Unfortunately, I think I can see that happening.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, the reality is, even though I made it up, I'm sure it happens. Brian's processing that for a second.
No, I was gonna go fakey, but I just believed in it. I wanted to believe in it so much. Shaky. I said I don't care if it's right or wrong.
I know.
That's how I feel.
I know. I was thinking about it. I was thinking, like, what could people do to avoid things, but they still had to do it, right? Like they still had to grocery shop, for example. And how would they avoid it, right? So I made it up. Yeah, but if you believe me, didn't you? Because like, you believed it, and so did a lot of the people in the comments, because that's how real the fear of being seen can feel.
To me, it was a no-brainer.
Like it's. You can relate. You can relate to it because it's just so real, and that feeling is just so.
The sad thing is, I'm happy I got it wrong, but the sad part is, I still think people do that.
I know they do it,
and that concerns me.
Yeah, I know they do it. I never thought, but the reality is, I never thought of it before I thought of it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. And to look, and to hear, to Sherry's, and by the way, welcome, Sherry. I go as far as having my groceries delivered.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I can definitely see that.
Right.
My sister-in-law does that, and she doesn't even have Parkinson's.
Yeah, it's too easy now. I do it too, but I do it for more. Right? You know when we do it is when we drink lots of water, and I drink tons of water. So we go to Costco and we load up on water.
Yeah.
And so I can't. I physically now, I got to a point with my Parkinson's that I can't bend over and lift these 30 packs of water
I hear you.
5 in a row. I just can't do it anymore, and my strength is not there as it used to be, and so that's the day Instacart gets the call, is the water replenishing day. So they get to carry the heavy stuff. All right, so Brian, that's 2 for 3, I think, right?
It is. Yep.
All right.
We're on number 4.
Yeah. All right. So that's good. So we're getting close here. And how's everybody doing out in the comments? Dudes, how are you doing right now? So Brian is 2 for 3. Remember, we're trying to beat Brian. Like that's the goal. So right, that's the goal. Poor Brian. I was gonna get Brian I think, Brian, I'm gonna get you an email address. We're just gonna call it Poor Brian at Doing Life Today at doinglifetoday.com. Poor Brian. All right, here we go. Question number 4. And this is shaky or fakey. Isolation doesn't affect physical health. It's only emotional. Isolation doesn't affect physical health. It's only emotional.
I'll go fakey on that.
You went fakey on that one?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna let people think about that for a second.
Sure.
Margaret came back. Sherry, I do the same, but for convenience, not as a means of avoidance. This way I can conserve energy. Hey, that's a good point, Margaret. That's a good point, Margaret. Good one. And here, you know what? Clivey, look at Clivey's on. Clivey, it's halftime. So this is big European football right now.
Okay.
He wants to come on Shaky or Fakey, but we have to wait for the end of season. So
I respect that.
Yeah, I do too. It's all good.
Totally. If
Thanks
you've
for
got your
seeing.
team,
Just
stand behind
at
them.
least still stopping in. So we're like the halftime show, Brian. We're the halftime show. And
I'm not singing.
and we're not getting paid, but we're the halftime show. All right. So most people are in the comments saying fakey, and Brian said fakey, and absolutely, it is completely fakey. It raises stress, weakens the immune system, and worsens symptoms. It's a whole body issue.
I
A
gotta work
whole
on
body.
that.
This isolation is awful, right? Like, I mean, think about
It
like what
is.
this is good. Like it's crazy.
Well, for
It's
two outgoing guys like
crazy.
you and I, you say no, and then you wonder you're missing the humor, all the camaraderie, jocularity. Yeah, it sucks.
It really does. So Brian, what are you?
3 for 4.
3 for 4.
3
3
for
for 4? 3 for
Yeah.
4. Okay. I got a real big one coming up here, guys. You guys,
Uh-oh.
Jane's 2 for 3. Jane's 2 for 3. She's a bit behind us here. Come on, Jane. And so 3 for 4. Brian,
Yep.
is this one shaky or fakey?
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Is this from a viewer from the comments, or did Bryce make this one up?
Okay.
Isolation is worse than the tremors. At least the tremor shakes things up. Isolation is worse than a tremor. At least the tremor shakes things up. Is that shaky? Did that come from a comment from a viewer, or did Bryce make that one up?
I'm gonna go shaky.
Why would you go shaky for that one? Why would you do that?
Because I didn't know the answer.
I thought for sure you'd go fakey on that one.
Did it disappoint you?
It was too obvious. Like I thought you'd say like, no way. There's no way. Yeah, that's a real comment. That's shaky. That actually was in the comments, right? Isolation worse than a tremor. At least the tremor shake things up. I thought that was wild. I thought that was a really wild one. So 4 for 5. Look at you. Look at you.
I'm feeling good.
I mean, that's wild. Is anybody 5 for 5? I wonder out there. Anybody 5 for 5? Let us know. Hey, look, Rick's in there. Hey, Rick, how's it going, Rick? Man, right? Like Rick is a newly diagnosed, compassionate heart. That he is so for the newly diagnosed. It's crazy. Anyway, yeah, that was a real comment. Isn't that something, right? Like isolation being worse than being seen in public. I thought that was wild. Look at that. Rick is 5 for 5 right now. Rick is 5 for 5. But this, Brian, Deborah's 5 for 5. My God, Brian,
guys.
They're all beating you. But
I would like to see everybody 5 for 5. Then we've all got a good knowledge base.
But I'm going to tell you this one. This is what's going to separate.
Uh-oh.
This is what's going to separate. Oh, you ready for this one? This is the big one. This is going to be the last. This is the biggest one. This is the big one. Okay.
Yep.
All right, here we go, everybody. This is it. This is
ready.
it. This is gonna determine the grand poobah champion for today.
All right.
You ready? Shakey or fakey? Men with Parkinson's report higher isolation than women. Men with Parkinson's report a higher isolation than women. So basically, everybody, shakey or fakey, we're saying, is it men that report more isolation and higher rates of isolation, or is it women? And this is really interesting to me. This was so interesting to me. This is question number 6. Okay. Men with Parkinson's report higher isolation than women. Shaky, and now it's all over the board here right now, Brian. Just so you know, we got some shakies, we got some fakies, shakies, fakies. It's all over. It's wide open, Brian. Everybody's all over the place.
I'm gonna figure? So it's saying that men. So if I say shaky, I'm saying that okay.
So if you say shaky, you're saying that men isolate more than women, basically. Well, it's like,
I'm gonna go shaky.
You're gonna go shaky on that one. So you think men isolate more? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody ready? You ready for this?
No.
It's fakey.
There you go.
It's fakey.
Yeah,
Women with Parkinson's report a higher rate of isolation than men. And I was shocked by that. I don't know why.
I was leaning there at the beginning, and then I started to think of when you look at the home, the women play such an important part.
It shocked me. I don't know why.
I figured that would bring it to the scale tipping a bit more. It could have been 51% men, right? Like, I'm not saying it's huge. But I think it could have. In my mind, I knew it could have gone either way.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think in my mind, I was thinking that I feel this is just a Bryce thing, right? That women are usually better at talking about their feelings and sharing how they feel and
right
and whatnot.
That's
and
true.
Then okay, we just figured it all out. Margaret figured it out. Here it is. That's because the men won't admit it. You're probably right.
You're spot on.
She's right. She's probably Margaret. You probably nailed it.
This doesn't mean they won't do it. They just won't admit that they did it. She gets a bonus point. That's brilliant.
Oh my God. Oh man. Look at Rick said in sport groups, women are always trying to find other women. It's amazing to me, Rick. Like I honest to and I think Margaret's probably right because as men we're like, no, we're fine. No, we're fine. Women will say, no, I'm feeling disconnected. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I never thought of it that way. I really didn't.
It was a great question. I think that's one of the best ones.
That was wasn't that a good question?
Yeah,
it blew me away. It really shocked me.
You can argue both ways.
Yeah, it's.
But it is what it is. I'm not disputing it. I'm just saying you can argue either way.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, well done.
I was going to end with this one. I'm going to throw this toss up. This one doesn't even count. But how about this one?
Sure.
Some of the comments said they joined a mime class, so if they froze, people would think it was just part of the act.
It's so silly. It's true.
That's what I read. Hey, they joined a mime class, so if they froze, right, they think they're part of the act. I made that one up, Brian. That was just me.
That's it for this round of Shakey or Fakey, where the facts are fuzzy and the fun is fully intentional. Think you can do better? Sign up to be a guest and take on Bryce or Brian in a future showdown. Just follow the link in the description, and you might be the next contestant on Shakey or Fakey. Cue the awkward outro music.
Well, that was fun. That was fun and educational all at the same time, Brian.
It was great.
And speaking of education,
step right up, the latest news. Parkinson's breakthroughs now in view. Expertly Parkinson's news for you. Research updates, gene therapy hoping to only at Expertly Parkinson's News. Now get ready. Here he is, Brian Campen. Tune in now. Progress in our site, Expertly Parkinson's News. Right.
Boom. It is time, Brian. It's handed over to you for the what's latest in Parkinson's research.
That's great. Thanks, Bryce. Appreciate that very much. Today, I want to share with you, I'm going to share with you an article. And then the second item I have is more of what's going on with some research and the regular mainstream things that I've been chatting with you about. But this article, it was titled, "It's Time for Parkinson's Research to Move Out of the Slow Lane." So that grabbed my attention. I didn't know what they meant by the slow lane. So what I'm going to do is provide you a level set on where Parkinson's research is today and the outdated challenges that we still face and have faced for some time. So this was an article written by a gentleman named Doc Irish, and he wrote it for Parkinson's News Today. It was last week that he did it. And Doc is a person with Parkinson's. He was diagnosed in 2020 at age 49. He's in the US. He provides a well thought out challenge of not enough research being done for Parkinson's cure. A lot of what he says is why we wanted to provide you with our what's new with Parkinson's updates on our weekly podcast. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm just going to dive in and share the content with you. But if you've ever had the pleasure of visiting your local Department of Motor Vehicles, or DMV, you'll understand the following metaphor. You walk in with the faint hope of progress. Maybe today will be different. Maybe the line will be short. Maybe the system will work. Maybe finally someone will call your number. Now imagine living with Parkinson's disease. We patients are given a number too, except ours starts with the date of diagnosis. And once you're in the system, the waiting begins, not just for symptoms to worsen or medications to help, but for real innovation, for change, for something new in the treatment landscape that doesn't feel like a hand-me-down, from the 1990s. I'm speaking on behalf of Doc here. So I was diagnosed 5 years ago. That's 5 years of waiting in a neurological DMV. Well, the line in front of me barely moves. The gold standard continues to be levodopa. And levodopa was released in 1967, or 58 years ago. And we haven't had anything to that magnitude since. And the last major advancement in Parkinson's surgical therapy was deep brain stimulation in 1987, which was 38 years ago. So both are considered gold standards, a phrase that implies excellence. But think if this was in technology, if your standard was created in 1967 or 1987, you'd be laughed out of the room. Imagine using a rotary phone to check your email. And yet for Parkinson's, that's where we are. Research and development cycles stretch decades. From idea to trial to approval, it could take 20 years if you're lucky. Meanwhile, patients and families are forced to make do, stuck with side effect management and symptom juggling while we fundraise for awareness. Awareness is not enough. We're already painfully aware. Many therapies are clinic bound, meaning they require an in-person visit to a center with specialized equipment. That's like having to return to the DMV every week just to keep driving. As patients, we have limited access, limited control, and minimal participation in shaping the therapies we use. Everything is done to us, not with us. We are not co-pilots of our own care. We're passengers, and in some cases, we're luggage. My neurologist, an insightful and well-intentioned doctor, calls this tedious and often stuck in the mud academic medicine. And she's not wrong. The system prides itself on being slow, deliberate, and skeptical. That's fine for publishing a peer review paper, but when you're trying to live with a progressive disease, the slow lane is a death sentence. The DMV mentality, let's go back to that analogy. You sit and wait for your number to be called. You fill out forms you've already filled out. The rules keep changing. You forget to bring the one piece of documentation they now require. No, they can't help you today, so let's try again next month. It's not the fault of the people behind the desk. They're following procedures. They're doing their best within a flawed system. Same as many researchers, doctors, and foundations. They care, but the process itself, the ecosystem we've built, is adversarial to speed. It prioritizes control over curiosity, caution over creativity, and safety over urgency. I understand the reasons, but I also understand the consequences. Because when you're living with Parkinson's, the waiting is not harmless. So what's the alternative? How do we stop waiting for our number to be called and start building a better system? We need to accelerate the feedback loop between patient experience and therapeutic innovation.
Amen.
This means creating platforms for real-time, real-world data collection, not just clinic snapshots. Supporting general wellness products that don't require U.S. Food and Drug Administration bottlenecks just to get started. Opening the door to multisensory at-home therapies, not just more pills. Partnering with engineers, technologists, and designers, not just pharmaceutical giants. And funding experiments, not just endpoints. We need to treat Parkinson's research and development like a startup, not a government agency. Fast iterations, continuous testing, and human-centered design. The DMV doesn't work because it assumes one size fits all. Parkinson's care doesn't work because it assumes one path fits all. But no two parties are the same. No two nervous systems respond identically. The brain is dynamic, so we must be the system that treats it. So here I am 5 years in, waiting, watching, still hopeful. But increasingly, I'm not just waiting, I'm building like others in the patient community. I'm working with engineers and advocates to push forward new ideas, wearable devices, visual audio interfaces, multisensory patterning, direct-to-patient systems, and faster loops. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Because people with Parkinson's are not static. We are not research subjects. We are dynamic, creative, capable human beings. And we're tired of waiting for our number to be called. Let's modernize the system. Let's get out of the line. Let's create the future for the next 20 years. Cycle begins. Now I'm going to move on to something that helps to address this. I'm going to talk about going wireless with Parkinson's. Now, in the spirit of what's new with Parkinson's, this is a great update. And this time it's around Parkinson's research going wireless. Today's update feels like a science fiction. Scientists are testing brand new therapy that uses wireless nanoparticles to treat Parkinson's without surgery and without heavy meds. Think of these nanoparticles as remote controlled switches inside the brain. Doctors can flip them on with wireless signals, targeting only the brain cells affected by Parkinson's. No wires, no scalpels, just precision medicine. When activated, these particles help restore movement, reduce tremors, and improve brain activity. It's like giving your neurons a Wi-Fi connection direct, fast, right where it's needed. Now, this is still early and in the lab studies, not clinics, but results so far look safe and effective. Experts believe it could launch a whole new era of treatment, not just for Parkinson's, but other brain conditions too. Imagine a future where instead of surgery, you get a wireless treatment that restores independence. That's where science is heading. And if my Wi-Fi house keeps buffering Netflix, my neurons better get the same plan. And that's it. So, Bryce, I'll turn it back to you.
Man, that's wild, right? That's wild. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Like, I know that the article was a little long, but the more I read it, I pictured you and I having that conversation, because we had it just this morning again.
Yeah,
right?
I know. But the problem, so my only thought is this: is like, do you have to be in it? Like, what happens when you get out of signal? Like, if you you're like, it's like you're going to be shut off. Like, it's wild. But there was two things you said there, and number, I like it in the very beginning, and hopefully I heard this properly. But
yeah,
you're talking about being the co-pilot, right? And we need to be the ones that are pushing. We need to be the ones that are directing, right? And that's what we're big advocates, right? Of saying right from the very beginning, you got to take control of this. You got to push. You got to go to your doctor. Don't wait for them to call. Like, you know what I mean? I know you see them every 6 months, but get aggressive. Don't be a co-pilot. You got to be the pilot to push to get things done. And I think that's, I love that.
I was at two things. On Thursday, I presented to the leadership and board of Parkinson's Canada, and I brought up the beach band, and it wasn't well known of. And then I brought it up with my newly just met moving disorder specialist on Friday when I was there downtown having that consult. And he had never heard of the beach band either. You know, and there's a technology that's been around a year, and it's got a good news story and feel to it. But there's, you know, the expert journalist educating people that are far more educated than he is. Right?
Well, yeah, but you know what, Brian? So here, and I'm going to get on my soapbox for 1 second, because
Sure.
I ended up impromptu speaking in front of all these neurologists, movement disorder specialists, and neo brain people. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I got invited to this thing, and next thing you know, I was speaking, and and the one thing that they didn't get. Yeah, what they didn't get is they kept saying, like, well, you know, what's I get, so what's the big deal? You know, if the waiting list is 2 years. And I said, well, what you don't understand is 2 years to use it might be okay. But I said, we've been given if we need to know, we need to get on track. We need to get these things in place, because there are things that our brain is starting to condition based on what our conditions are going through. And we're changing the way we're living and doing things without even knowing it, because we're not being diagnosed. And I said, think of having this disease that has an expiry date, but nobody knows what the hell it is. So in other words, when you go buy a jug of milk, right, and you put it in your fridge and it says, you know, you've got 10 days with the expiry date. Okay. Could you imagine, Brian, if you didn't have expiry dates on anything, and you didn't know what was going to happen day to day? So you wouldn't know, you know, you wake up and smell it, and the milk's off, and it's awful, and it stinks, right? Because it's gone. We've been given an expiry date, but no one can tell us when that day is. But they say it's coming. There's going to be this day that things are going to change, but we don't know when.
Well said.
We don't know when it's going to be. But don't worry about it. You know, why don't you wait a couple years before we can see you, and then, you know, and everything's going to be a-okay. And so we don't have the time. And the issue that I have with organizations and the things that are going on, it's well, let's put this, it's not in the budget for this year, maybe next year. We don't know how much time we have, and we need to start doing this now. And so my new motto in life is this, and I love this.
I want to hear this.
Ready for this? Ready, fire, aim.
No kidding.
Ready, fire, aim. You know what? Let's
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
some
What's the
chances.
target?
Let's try it. Someone's got an idea. Let's bloody well try it. If it's not going to kill me and it's
Exactly.
not going to hurt me, let's just try it. Because I don't have time to wait till I have 17 articles like the beach ban you're talking about, right? If it's working for people, I want to know, Brian, is it working for you? If it's working for you, let me try it. Is it going to hurt me? No. But I don't have to wait 7 years for the research departments to come up with
Yeah.
all the science to say why it works. If it's not going to hurt me and it's not going to kill me, why wouldn't I try it?
I have 4 weeks of no freezing since I put the band on.
Ready, fire, aim. Brian, ready, fire, aim. Not ready, aim, fire. Ready, fire,
Exactly.
aim. Because you would be sitting here right now waiting 7 years
Yeah.
for the research to come out to say, Brian, this is okay, give it a shot, or just put the thing around your wrist and see if it works. And that's why,
Right.
as people with Parkinson's, we need to stand up and say, I get it. I love the scientists. I love the researchers. I get it. But damn it, if there's something that may help me today, I give it to me. I'll give it a shot.
The challenge is the voice of Parkinson's is smaller than the voice of heart and stroke and cancer and dementia, right? So that tells me we need to advocate more. You're absolutely right.
It's the fastest growing
And then there's
neurological issue in the world.
30 people a
And
day
yet
are
we're
diagnosed.
this little department because we well, let's not rock the boat. Let's not say anything.
No.
You know what? Damn it! It's time
I'll
to
rock
start.
the boat.
Yeah. Anyway, you know what I mean? Like it's like let's go. Like we need to advocate for ourselves, and we
Yep.
need to do it. And it's just you know what? It's time. We need to create a revolution to say, damn it! You know what? It's like we're here and we're ready to roll. And you know what? We're not gonna roll over and play dead. And we need to get we go through COVID hits, right, Brian? You remember
Yep.
COVID. Everybody remembers
yeah.
COVID. It was awful,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We go through COVID, and you know what? When we're coming, they found stuff you could, what do you call it? You know, whatever. The thing they stuck the needles with in, you know, like what do you call it? An antidote or no? Here goes my brain.
I do know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Anyway, they found something for it in 12 months of a brand new thing. They didn't know what it
Right.
was and we're on the same bloody pill that we've been taking for forever. Where, you know,
Right.
like we need, and again, so where is it? And we need to do it. And I'm tired of not doing it anymore. And it's time for us to pick up the flag and go. And I'm going. And you want to follow me? Come with me. Vaccine. Thank you. That's my wife. Vaccine. They came up with the vaccine in 12 months, right? And we've been sitting with this bloody thing with the same pill with no other thing. And so it's time for us to start saying, enough's enough. We're not going to take it anymore. And I'm not waiting 10 years for your research. And don't get me wrong. If it's a medication that's going to hurt us or something could go wrong, I get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. And look at Margaret's like, I'll be the guinea pig. Like, let's go. And I told them, I said, I don't have this time to sit and wait for you guys to decide if why is it working? I don't give a shit why it's working. If it's working, it's working. And I've talked to all these people wearing these beach bands. Okay. And what's blowing my mind right now is that I've heard one person said it didn't do anything, which is fine, right? That's fine. We're all snowflakes, right? It's not going to, what works for one
and they'll
may not
tell you
work
that
for the
too.
other.
It doesn't work for everybody.
Absolutely. And part two to that is that we when Carl Beach made it, it was for speaking, right? For his throat.
Yep.
But now, like you're saying, hey, all of a sudden I'm not freezing. And then I've heard somebody else saying, hey, my tremors aren't as bad. And someone else said my anxiety is not. So it's doing different things for different people. And who the hell cares why? It's a stupid band. It's not going to kill you. It's putting vibrates. It doesn't matter why.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a computer. Can anybody tell us right now? You're in Ontario, Canada. I'm in Manitoba, Canada. We have people from all around the world watching us live right now. Can anybody tell us the exact science on how this is happening? How the satellites are beaming stuff up and going live and putting us all together? Who the hell cares? It's happening. Let's do it. And that's where we have to start moving forward. And that's why we have to pick up that flag and we got to be like Margaret and wear shirts all the time and get people talking about this and us not rolling over and playing dead.
Exactly.
Right. If something's not working in your meds, you phone your doctor and say, you're my doctor. You're going to help me. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm hearing. Let's go. And then anyway, there's my little rant. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. And I'm going to go back to
Bryce. I really enjoyed that soapbox. That was awesome. Awesome. That's what we're trying to do. This is what we're just two guys, but we also have a very large audience now. And continues to grow. And you're right, this thing is doubling, right? We may be 110,000 in Canada and 1 million in the US and whatever the numbers are. 110,000, that's not very many, Brian. It is if you're one of them.
Yeah.
Right. And it's doubling. It's like 30 a day are getting diagnosed with Parkinson. We got to stop that.
100%.
The movement and disorder specialist on Friday that I'm doing what I do from a volunteer perspective in this podcast because I want to put the neurologists out of business that have a specialty in Parkinson's.
Yeah.
He smiled and laughed. He goes, "Yeah, I get it."
Yeah. And it's funny.
Insulting.
It did totally. Yeah, you're 100%, Brian. And you know what? Like I'm going to pitch the flag, and I think people are resonating with that because again, and we just passed 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that blows my mind right off the bat. But
since February,
yeah, I mean since February. I mean, but people are just getting because damn it, we need it. And so if we're going to lead that cause and we're going to start a movement and not roll over, then so be it. I didn't, never wanted to be the leader of the pack, but I always wanted to sit back but that was me. When I got diagnosed, I didn't want any. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna sit in the background and be quiet. But you know what? I just couldn't take it anymore, and I don't want to take it anymore. And let's go. Look at Rick. You better make some room on that soapbox. Let's do this. I mean, we have to do it. Okay. Wow. I don't know where. Brian, when did we lose control of this podcast?
About 12:01, my time.
I get so passionate about it, and I
love it.
frustrated.
Hey, if you're not the lead dog, the view is the same. You always want to be the lead dog.
Yeah. I mean, you're right.
It's right.
Oh,
and on that note, where are we?
Where are we? What were you doing? Well, we were talking about isolation. So,
right.
And maybe that's part of it. Even that isolation. If you've been sitting back and kind of just sitting in the wind, and then you know what? Come and join us. Subscribe to the channel. Get your butt in the inner circle. Then we can talk about this stuff in private, and we can start building this out. But man, so here's so here I have the beach band. People, it's just anyway. I'm just saying when these things come out, I mean, let's do it. Let's take advantage of it. Apparently, they're available in Canada. I think in November
17th.
November 17th, they'll be in Canada. They're from the UK. And if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, they're called the Beach Band. It's been invented by a fellow named Carl Beach in the UK. And we're still here. Look at this. Hey, Harry. Look at this. There, that's the Beach Band. Harry, we're still right here, man. That's the Beach Band. You put it on your wrist. He invented it. And so it was only available in the UK on a limited production. They're trying to keep it as low as possible for costing and getting some grants to get it out there. But people, I mean, again, I've heard it didn't work for somebody, and I think I don't want to trump it too much because sometimes sometimes it doesn't work for people, sometimes it does, right? And so
it's not a cure. It's not
a cure, but it's helping Brian. It's helping you with your freezing. And look at Sherry; she's the best thing I've done for myself. So people are really getting benefit from it. It's a vibrational. It works with the vibrations, right, in your body and rhythm in your body and cadence in your body. And I think that's it's worth a shot to look at. You can check it out. Actually, Carl Beach wants to come on the program, so. We'll maybe have it.
That'd be great.
Look into that. We'll reach out.
It'd be great to do that before November 17th.
Before that's a good point. Canada, right? Good point. Yeah. All right, I'll reach out to them today. We'll see if we'll get them on.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Cool. Okay. All right. Well, we promised everybody we'd give you some tips on isolation, right?
Is it time?
So it might be a bit of a speed round, but some of the things that we do to beat isolation, and we talked a little bit about because again, just like I said, just on my rant, I'd like to know what I can do today, right? Not what something's going to help me in 5 years. What about today? So let's give you some really quick tips on what you can do today to help you fight isolation. And so my first one would be the micro social wins, right? Like just little things. Don't overthink it. Little things. Text one person, wave at the neighbor, say hi to the mail carrier, jump on the podcast and say, hey, I'm here, right? Small sparks add up.
Yeah. And if the mail carrier doesn't wave back, just pretend you were stretching or something. You go, oh, that wasn't me.
Well, yeah. Whoops. That's the worst when you don't get it back, right? Or you do something and they do something and you start waving back and they're not waving at you. That's the worst. Okay, here's another tip. Tip 2. Stack it with habits, right? So pair social contact with something you already do. In other words, if you're walking, then walk and make a call, right? If you're cooking, cook and FaceTime. So something you're doing, just stack it together so you don't have to make extra time.
Yeah, just don't fry bacon on FaceTime. That's a fire hazard waiting to happen.
Bacon? Who said bacon? Every time we say bacon, there's this one person always jumps in on the podcast with a comment about me and bacon. I don't know why. So now it's there. We'll see what happens. Okay, tip number 3, reframe it. So instead of saying they'll notice my tremor, say my tremor is proof that I showed up.
And if people notice, they notice. What they'll remember is that you came now, how you looked.
There you go. There you go. Exactly. Okay. Tip number 4, schedule it. Put connection on the calendar. Treat it like a dose of medicine, so you don't skip it. So just that social would say, I'm going to text a friend and I'm going to do it at between 10 and 10:15.
Yeah, I find if it's not written down, it doesn't happen. I just make a little note to myself. Just
Absolutely.
a reminder, right? Yeah.
I have a theory that if it's not written down, it didn't exist.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Tip number 5. How about this? Try low pressure hangs. In other words, not everything has to be a 3-hour dinner date. Coffee, a short walk, a quick visit, just low pressure. Make it easy on yourself.
Yeah, 10 minutes of a real connection would beat 3 hours of Netflix, right? Like, absolutely.
Well, depending on what
for the return, right?
Yeah, exactly. Tip number 6. Join some online spaces. So if leaving the house is tough, join an online group. Connection through a screen still counts. It
And
really
pajama
does.
pants are totally acceptable on Zoom, Teams, all the platforms.
That's the best. You can be in the inner circle and having like the most in-depth conversation and talking about something and getting some help. And all of a sudden, and I'm in my pajamas, right? And no one knows. It's all good. It works totally good. That's why I love the inner circle. And Rick's like, bacon. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just bacon. I don't know. I say the word bacon and the YouTube algorithm takes it, puts it on some bacon sites, and I get just rammed about my bacon. What's tip number 7? Okay, tip number 7. Bring people into your routine. In other words, don't avoid people. Invite them into what you're already doing. In other words, like, a grocery run. Ask a friend if they want to tag along. If you're going for a walk, hey, I'm going for a walk. Would you like to come? So it's all things that you're doing. Just tag it along to get the pressure off you of having to do more and more and more.
Yeah, just make sure it's a friend that sticks to the list, and you're getting an oil change or something.
Do not take me grocery shopping, Brian. If you phone me and say, "Hey, buddy, I'm going grocery. You want to come with me?" Your cart. I fill carts up without telling. Like I'm just when you get to the checkout, it's like there's so many peanut M&Ms are coming out from underneath the.
Yeah, I love it.
Maybe underneath the bacon. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Tip number 8, celebrate small wins, right? So even if you only stay in an event for 10 minutes, you need to celebrate it. Don't focus on what you didn't do. Focus on the fact that you showed up.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you're there just for the dessert portion, it's still being there.
Exactly. And it's probably better for you, to skip the dessert. Tip number 9, and this is really important, maybe have a connection buddy, right? Find one person who checks in on you, and then you check in on them. And again, that's that one person. When it's just that accountability factor in that, Brian, is huge.
Yeah. I've got a nephew. He's a lifeguard. So, the buddy system isn't just for swimming. It works for life too.
Absolutely. I have times when I disappear. I'll be honest. I'm off. I'm having a bad day. I disappear, but I need someone to check in. I have buddies that'll just check in. How you doing? What's going on? How you doing? And that accountability is like, oh, even though you're like, damn it, I don't feel like talking to Brian today. Okay, I'll get back to him. Tip number 10. And if you're all watching the broadcast, you have no problem with this one, but laugh more.
Yes.
Humor is medicine. Share a joke, watch a comedy, laugh with somebody. It breaks isolation fast.
Yeah, laughter is the cheapest therapy session you'll ever get. And it feels awesome.
It really does. I mean, we advocate for that so much.
Yeah.
Tip number 11, share your story. When you talk about Parkinson's, you take power back. It turns a secret into a bridge.
Yeah, and often someone says, me too. Suddenly you're not alone anymore, right?
And that's it, Brian. You think about that, me too. That saying, we're talking about that isolation, that one person says, oh my God, me too. Right. And they know they're not alone. They know that, and that not alone feeling, like we said, feeling alone is going to, could technically double your progression speed. So here's tip number 12. Give before you get. In other words, isolation makes us self-focused. Flip it. Call somebody else just to see how they're doing and how they are.
Yeah, and what I find, it's like mentoring. When you do something like this, the funny thing is, I end up helping myself at the same time. It's really kind of cool. Like if I mentor somebody, I'm passing knowledge, but I still get some back.
Exactly.
It's a balancing trade.
Exactly.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And Margaret was talking in the inner circle there. She said, I bought some deal t-shirts, like Doing Life Today t-shirts. And she laughs with her because everybody asks her, what the heck is that? What the heck is that? And so it gives her an opportunity to start talking about Parkinson's, about living her life and living her best life. And I think that's amazing. So
it's a conversation starter. Absolutely.
It is. And she was talking to us. She was telling everybody, get a shirt. I'm like,
I use this for the same reason. This is my conversation starter.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, look at that. They're like, who are the two dummies on your shirt? And you just say, hey, and let me tell you about this podcast. And it's amazing, right? Like, and you talk about Parkinson. It's advocate. Exactly. If you're not, you don't have the kahunas to be like, to walk up to people and say, hey, can I talk to you about Parkinson's? But you just wear a shirt or a hat or a mug and they'll say, what is that? And then it opens up the doors for you to talk about it.
I have a buddy who, when we go on a vacation down south to the Caribbean for a week, he takes a t-shirt a day that has some kind of a silly quote or something on it. Every day is different, and we have so much fun. And the whole resort gets to know you, kind of thing. It's awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It is. Well,
it's so. I mean, and that's the thing. I guess the bottom line is like we gave you 12 ways you can push back against isolation, right? Yeah. But again, don't get overwhelmed. Pick one. Maybe just pick one. Try it this week, and then come back to the comments and say, I did this. This was good, or this didn't happen, right? And I just love it. I think it's just something that you need to do. Yeah, just get out there.
We're not giving you homework, but we would love to hear back if you tried it. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah,
please, one of you, please do Brian a favor. I would love to hear the outcome. I really would.
Absolutely, 100. It's like a challenge, Brian. You laid the challenge down. Come back and say, I tried this one, and you know what? And you're not going to feel great. I mean, you're like, oh, great. I texted somebody, big deal. But I'm telling you, those little tiny things like doing that, it's just it starts changing. You'll be changing over time, and it's something that's so important to do. So the bottom line with it is isolation is real. It really is, and it sneaks in, and it tells you you're staying home is safer. Right. Yeah. But safer isn't always better. Nope. So today, you've proven connections possible, even through a screen. Like, look at this. We have proven connections possible through a screen as we sit here right now and have this conversation and we're having conversations. Jane's like, look at Jane. Jane's like, I like the t-shirt idea. So we just connected with Jane. Jane just connected. Right. And so, that's what is through a screen. And we did it here today. Yeah. And I got a Bryce-ism. Ready for this one? With Parkinson's, isolation may feel safe, but connection is where healing happens.
Ooh, that's deep. I like that.
There you go, my friend.
Bryce.
There you go.
Bryce.
Well, my man. And everybody else, thank you so much. 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you. You guys are amazing and wonderful. And, every time you watch a video, every time you like a video, and every time you share a video, it pushes the YouTube algorithm out to more and more people that might need to see what we've got and what we're doing. So thank you for being part of this movement. Thank you for being a part of what we're doing. Absolutely amazing. And thank you just so much for being part of this community. And if you got something out of today and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and share this with somebody who needs it, and drop your story in the comments. And like Brian said, come on back and tell us what you did this week. Yeah. All right, Brian.
Yes.
Thanks, buddy. That was fun again. I love it.
Every week, I learn, I laugh, and I live. I just love this podcast.
Me too. Well, listen, you guys have a great week. And until next time, keep showing up, keep laughing, stay in motion, and keep doing life today. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
You did it. You made it through another episode of Life in Motion. That's 20 to 30 minutes you could have spent folding laundry, Googling your symptoms, or rearranging the 14 pill bottles on your nightstand. Instead, you hung out with Bryce and Brian. That's friendship. Or questionable time management. Either way, we're grateful. Be sure to follow the show, leave a review, or just yell, I have Parkinson's and I'm fabulous, into your backyard. We'll hear you. Probably. New episodes drop regularly, unless we both forget. Until next time, keep laughing, keep shaking things up. And if you find our train of thought, please return it.